At Winterfell, the halls are quiet, but grief hangs in the air. Bran Stark, once a lively and adventurous boy who loved climbing the castle walls, now lies confined to his bed. His body has betrayed him, the fall from the tower robbing him of the ability to walk. Though his family offers comfort, Bran's mind is consumed by strange visions of a three-eyed raven that seems to call him toward something greater. These dreams haunt him in the night, a reminder of the mysteries tied to his fall and perhaps to his future. When Tyrion Lannister visits Winterfell on his journey back from the Wall, his sharp wit and unexpected courtesy set him apart from the rest of his family. Unlike Cersei and Jaime, who remain entangled in their own schemes, Tyrion shows genuine interest in Bran's suffering. He presents a clever design for a saddle that could allow Bran to ride a horse again, despite his injuries. It is an act that surprises everyone, for it comes not from pity, but from respect. Where Tyrion understands what it means to be judged for one's physical condition. He himself has lived a life mocked as the imp. Bran, though still young, is stirred by this gift of hope. For the first time since the fall, he dares to imagine a future where he is not entirely powerless. Yet Catelyn Stark, still heavy with suspicion and grief, sees Tyrion's kindness as manipulation. To her, every move by a Lannister is calculated, and the shadow of Bran's fall lingers in her mind. Tyrion's gesture is dismissed as a trick, further deepening her resolve to uncover the truth behind her son's attempted murder. Far to the north, at the Wall, another story of weakness and resilience unfolds. Jon Snow, now settled among the recruits of the Night's Watch, trains relentlessly. Most of his fellow brothers are not knights or noble-born, but thieves, criminals, and men cast aside by society. Into this harsh environment comes Samwell Tarly, a boy unlike the others. Overweight, timid, and shaking with fear, Sam confesses openly that he is a coward. His father forced him to join the Night's Watch as punishment for his weakness, and Sam has been marked by years of humiliation. To the other recruits, Sam is an easy target. They jeer at him, beat him during training, and mock his every stumble. Jon watches these cruelties unfold with a growing sense of unease. Though Jon himself struggles with his own identity as a bastard, he sees in Sam a reflection of what it means to be cast aside. His sympathy begins to outweigh his frustration, and a quiet bond forms between them. Jon recognizes that Sam's honesty about his fear is not weakness, but a kind of strength. This act sets the tone for the episode's theme. Those who are crippled, broken, or scorned are not without worth. Bran's visions hint at a destiny greater than his broken body suggests. Tyrion's kindness reveals humanity behind his mocking exterior. And Jon, in reaching out to protect Sam, begins to learn what it means to be a true brother. Life at the Wall is harsh, unforgiving, and brutal, especially for new recruits who have little experience with weapons or discipline. For Jon Snow, training comes naturally. Raised as the son of Lord Eddard Stark, he learned swordplay and honor from an early age. But his skill sets him apart, breeding resentment among the other boys who see him as arrogant and privileged. When Samwell Tarly arrives, however, Jon is reminded that not everyone has had the chance to prepare for such a life. Sam's first day is disastrous. Overweight, uncoordinated, and terrified of pain, he quickly earns the scorn of Seer Alliser Thorne, the harsh Master Tarms. Thorne delights in humiliating him, forcing Sam to spar with stronger boys who easily knock him down. Each fall earns laughter from the others, and though Sam pleads that he cannot fight, Thorne insists the Wall will not spare cowards.
No.
The beatings continue until Jon can no longer bear to watch.
No.
Though Jon has been proud and aloof since his arrival, Sam's suffering stirs compassion in him. That night, Jon approaches Sam and offers friendship. Sam confesses that he has always been afraid that his father abandoned him at the Wall because he was not the warrior his family demanded. His honesty cuts deep into Jon, who knows what it feels like to be unwanted, to grow up under a name tainted by illegitimacy. For the first time, Jon sees a brother not as an enemy or a rival, but as someone who needs protecting. Determined to shield Sam from further cruelty, Jon rallies his closest companions, Grin and Pippand, devises a plan. The next day, when Seer Alliser orders Sam back into the ring, the boys refuse to strike him. One by one, they stand firm, declaring they will not harm him. Jon makes it clear that anyone who does will answer to him. Though Seer Alisar mocks them as weak, their act of solidarity sends a powerful message. The Night's Watch must be built on brotherhood, not on cruelty. Sam, though still frightened, is deeply moved. For the first time he feels accepted. His gratitude to Jon grows, and their friendship becomes the heart of his survival. Jon, in turn, begins to understand that strength is not just measured by skill with a sword, but by the willingness to defend those who cannot defend themselves. As this bond grows, Tyrion Lannister prepares to leave the Wall and returns south. Before departing, he offers Jon one last piece of wisdom. He reminds him that the Night's Watch is not made up of noble knights or great warriors, but of cripples, bastards, and broken things. It is a haven for outcasts, a place where men discarded by the world are forced to find meaning together. Jon takes these words to heart, realizing his duty is not just to himself, but to those who have no one else. In the frozen wilderness, surrounded by walls of ice and shadows of the unknown, a new kind of brotherhood is forged not by blood, but by loyalty, sacrifice, and shared struggle. King's Landing is a city of beauty and rot, where gold masks the corruption beneath. For Ned Stark, the Hand of the King, every street whispers treachery, and every smile hides a blade. His mission to uncover the truth behind the death of his predecessor, Jon Arryn, begins quietly, but soon reveals troubling signs of danger. Ned's investigation takes him first to Grand Maester Pycelle, the aged healer who served Jon Arryn in his final days. Pycelle speaks with the measured tone of a man who pretends loyalty to all, but serves only himself. He recalls that Arryn had grown restless and curious before his death, visiting him often to borrow books. He places in Ned's hands a heavy tome filled with the lineages of noble houses, their marriages, and their children, stretching back centuries. Pycelle shrugs at its importance, but to Ned, the fact that this was Arryn's last study is no coincidence. The Hand who died searching through names and bloodlines left behind a riddle Ned must now solve. From Pycelle, Ned learns Jon Arryn's final words. The seed is strong. First the phrase puzzles him, but it lodges in his thoughts. What seed? Whose strength? He senses it points to the royal children, perhaps even to the succession of the throne. While Ned grapples with riddles, pettier Baelish called Littlefinger slides into his orbit. Charming, sly, and endlessly calculating, Littlefinger offers Ned a tour of the city's underbelly. He leads him past gold cloaks and guards, whispering warnings at every turn. Trust no one, he tells Ned with a smile that carries both threat and invitation. Littlefinger claims he was close to Jon Arryn, and that the Hand was murdered, not felled by sickness. He hints that the Lannisters are behind it, but whether his words are truth or trap, Ned cannot yet know. Meanwhile, the Stark daughters adjust poorly to life in the capital. Sansa, enamored with Prince Joffrey despite his cruelty, clings to her dream of becoming queen. She loses herself in visions of golden crowns and songs of gallantry. Refusing to see the rot beneath the prince's charming mask, Arya, by contrast, sharpens her defiance. With Syrio Forel as her teacher, she learns the first lessons of the water dance, moving with grace and determination. Each girl reflects a path diverging from the other one into illusion, the other into independence. The seeds of division grow, not only among the sisters, but across the court. The Lannisters tighten their grip on the throne through debts and manipulation, while Robert Baratheon distracts himself with tournaments and wine. Amid the decadence, Ned alone searches for truth, carrying with him the burden of honor in a place where honor is a weakness. The act closes with Ned staring down the pages of Jon Arryn's book, the words of Pycelle echoing in his mind, and Littlefinger's sly warning hanging in the air. Somewhere in the bloodlines lies a secret worth killing for. The mystery deepens, and with each step, Ned is pulled further into the deadly Game of Thrones. Across the narrow sea, far from the icy winds of the Wall and the scheming halls of King's Landing, Daenerys Targaryen begins her transformation. What started as a forced marriage arranged by her brother, Viserys slowly becomes the crucible that awakens her true self. Surrounded by the Dothraki, she learns their ways, their strength, and most importantly, her own place among them. At first, Daenerys is timid, still carrying the scars of years spent under Viserys' cruelty. He raised her as a pawn, a bargaining chip, to buy himself an army. But life with the Dothraki begins to shape her differently. As Khaleesi, she earns the respect of Drogo's riders, who see in her not weakness, but growing authority. Where once she cowered, she now walks with her head held high, the beginnings of command in her voice. Viserys, however, does not adapt, still views the Dothraki as savages and his sister as property. His arrogance blinds him to the shifting balance of power. When Daenerys attempts to engage with the culture, learning their language, observing their rituals, Viserys mocks her. But the tide has turned. In a confrontation during their journey, he raises his hand against her, attempting to remind her of his dominance. For the first time, Daenerys does not submit. She strikes him back, her voice firm and steady as she reminds him she is the Khaleesi, wife to a call, not his plaything. This moment becomes a turning point. Viserys, who once styled himself the dragon, is reduced to a pitiful figure before the eyes of the Dothraki. His authority crumbles, while Daenerys' star rises. Even Ser Jorah Mormont, sworn to protect her, begins to see her not as the frightened girl he first met, but as a true leader in the making. Her spirit, long buried under years of fear, awakens in the heat of the Dothraki sun. Daenerys also develops a quiet fascination with the dragon eggs gifted to her at her wedding. Beautiful, ancient, and petrified, they are said to be little more than ornaments, relics of a past age. Yet Daenerys treats them with reverence, keeping them close as though they carry life. In the egg, she sees a reflection of herself, outwardly dormant, dismissed by others as powerless, but carrying within her the potential for fire and transformation. The bond she feels with the eggs foreshadows the destiny she does not yet fully grasp. The Dothraki begin to recognize her strength in small ways, in her confidence, in her voice, in her growing presence at Khal Drogo's side. No longer merely Viserys' sister, she becomes Khaleesi in truth, shaping her own role rather than having it dictated to her. Where Viserys seethes in frustration, Daenerys flourishes, finding freedom in the very place she was meant to be shackled. The act closes with the clear reversal of power between the siblings. Viserys, once certain of his crown, is left isolated and humiliated. Daenerys, once meek and silent, steps into the first light of her destiny. The dragon within her stirs, foreshadowing the fire she will one day unleash upon the world.